Okay, so we've given the door approximately 3 hours to dry out here, and this is what it looks like when the primer has dried out. Hello and welcome back here. We've given the door approximately 4 hours to dry out, and you definitely want to let this dry out before reapplying a second coat of the Fresh Start. Okay, because what will happen is you may be able to pull it off, or it'll be too soft. So let the primer dry out before applying the second coat. Now I think on the last video I was talking about the roller that I'm using. It's a microfiber. It's a 4-inch long, and I think I said that's a 1/4 inch. It's 3/8 inch napped, and this is what it looks like right here. This is the back of it, and on the back of it it says to pre-wet it so that it loads up. Okay, and these are shed resistant, so these are great for like doors and stuff like that. Now folks, whenever I have some downtime when we have to let the door dry out, I always wrap the roller and the brush in the plastic here, okay, so it doesn't dry out. So that's that, and then I have my brush that I wrapped in plastic too. And I'll just simply slide that out and we're ready to go. Okay, so again, with the roller, we'll start in the top right first here. I'm going to dip the edge into, so we have both the sides of the roller and the end, which is loaded up with paint there. Okay, and just work it into the corners there. And as you can see, it really does a great job by getting into all those corners. I'll load up again here, come over to the top left. Now, as you notice, I didn't sand down the primer after the first coat, because there's no need, and you have to worry about sanding the primer off. So just do the 2 coats of the primer, and then if you need to sand after that dries, but you really shouldn't need to. I don't really need to worry about sanding because I always strain the primer or paints before I use them. So if there's any clumps or stuff like that in them, I get those out. Okay, so we've worked the paint on the sides here. Okay, and really focus in on hitting the corners, because the roller can't really get into the right angle of the corners there. Okay. And if you have too much paint that's in the corners from the roller, the brush is a great way to take away that excess. Okay, so just go in the corners. Okay, so that's all rolled out there, and I'll just come back into it. And again, I'm using the roller to hit all 4 sides of the panel here, so that we get rid of the brush strokes and that it lays down a nice even layer of primer. So we'll load back up. Load up the egg. Load the brush up, tap it to one side, start at the top, drag down, and come back up. Really hit the corners. Okay, and guys, you have to work fast here because we're pulling the whole door across in one motion here. Okay, so that's that. I'll load back up here. Start in the middle. Up. Hit the sides. Come up here again. Load up the brush there. Start at the top, pull down. Just work that up there. Okay, so now these go around, just look at your work. In the corners there. Down. Load back up. Okay, so we got half the door done there. Start at the top. Again, you want to start at the top because you have all that paint in your brush. You don't want to start at the bottom, okay? Because if you start at the bottom, then it'll all be pulled up at the bottom, and then gravity will pull it all down. You'll have a big mess in the corner down here. So always, when you load up your brush, start at the top. Take away the brush strokes there. And fill this with paint or primer. Start at the top. down. Okay, that looks good. I'll look at my work, make sure I hit all those areas there. Fold back up. Start in the middle and work your way out to the perimeter of the inside of the panels. And go up. Sides. Okay, come back up and take care of that. Up. Bottom, start in the middle. Back there. Okay. Hit this side right here. Take away those brush strokes here. Again, I'm going to go back and look at my work, see if there's any bunch of paint that's in the corners here. That looks good. Nothing there. No, nothing there. If there was something there, just take your brush and dab it. Or again, you have the roller here too. Look down there. That looks good. Okay. So as you can see here, the second coat of the primer really did a great job in covering up or hiding the red, especially from the first coat of primer here. Again, because this primer is very thick and it covers great and it hides great. So we're gonna give this whether a few hours to dry out or overnight to dry out before we're back to do a light sand, and then we're going to apply the top coat of the Simply White. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Hello and welcome back here. We've given the door overnight to dry out here. So we've done 2 coats of the Fresh Start primer, and it was tinted towards the Simply White. Okay, and as you can see from the video, I think that it did a great job in hiding or blocking or canceling out the red here. Okay, So it's basically smooth, but I'm just gonna give it a light sand in case there was anything in the primer. There's not much here. And just run your fingers across it and it's nice and smooth, okay? So I'll put that down. I have my dust brush here. Get rid of any dust that was incurred from the sanding. There's not much, okay? So we're going to be top coating with this paint right here. This paint is made by Sherwin Williams and it's called Emerald, okay? And it's a urethane trim enamel and it's for interior and exterior. Now guys, this is a great premium primer from Sherwin Williams. This and the Duration are their two best. This is very similar to the Duration. It's a little bit more expensive, but this dries to a little bit harder of a film, so they'll be great for doors and trimming and whatnot. And this really hides great too. And again, this is simply white, which is a tough color to get, especially on top of a deep red. But we did 2 coats of the Benjamin Moore Fresh Start Primer, and that was tinted towards the simply white too, okay? So I'll put this down here, and again, I'm going to be using my Corona Excalibur brush, okay? And once again, we're going to be using the this 4-inch microfiber roller, and it's a 3/8 snap, and I pre-wet it, and once you wet it, then you spin it out, get rid of all the excess water. So there's only probably like 2% of water in here, and that helps when I go to load up the roller here. So you can see the Emerald is in my paint bucket here. And we're just gonna load this up real good. Okay, and I'm gonna dip the end in it too. Okay. So this is what it looks like here. And again, we're going to start with the top right panel here. Okay, really put it in the corners and whatnot. There's still a lot left on the roller, so I'll just come over here. Work it into the corners. Okay, so both of these are all loaded up here. And now with my brush here, I'll dip the brush in like that. And we're just gonna work the paint into the corners here where I couldn't get with the roller. And just kind of move all the paint around and thin it out and smooth it out in the process. Okay, so I'm happy with that there. Now again, guys, you want to work fast with this because we're doing the whole door, one shot. We're not just doing just the insides first. So I have it up like that there. And now I'm going to use the roller to even out the paint and take away the brush strokes. All right, I'll look back up here. Now this stuff is a joy to work with. It goes on so nice and smooth, and especially on top of the Benjamin Moore Fresh Start. It basically just glides on here. So it has great flow to it, and that's something that you want, especially when doing a door where you have to work fast. The paint isn't going to drag. And just make sure that you look into all the corners here, okay? So roll it up, start in the middle. You can see how I'm able just to glide my brush right down the surface here, okay? Look at that. And whenever you're able just to glide the brush, you're going to not only be able to paint faster, but you're going to also get a more uniform sheen. Look down the side of it, and again, this sheen is a satin sheen. This stuff, it goes on real nice, and you're able just to work this stuff around. And as I can see, and as you can see, it covers great. And guys, it's nice to be able just to load up with the roller here to transfer the paint from the bucket with the roller instead of with the brush. With the brush, it takes a long time to really get all this paint on there. So you're gonna save a lot of time by using the roller to apply the paint to the door, and then use the brush to really work it in the corners or any cracks, and then switch back to the roller to apply some more to the center, and then to finally take away any of the brush strokes that were incurred from getting the paint in the corners and whatnot. Okay. Now I'm gently going, I'm hitting all the sides here. And I'm doing it in a gentle way as to not ruin the roller by squeezing in too hard on it. Then once the roller gets compressed, the roller isn't going to be able to deliver the paint in such a way where it goes on nice and smooth. So you don't want to go too hard with the roller, okay? because then it's not going to apply a thick enough coat of paint to the door. And you can see what the roller, what it starts to look like when it starts to get compressed. And again, this is a 3/8 snap. Really look in the corners here to make sure we got it to cover. That looks good. Okay, so now I'm just come in the center here, up, down, come back in the middle here with a brush work there, come up here, take away those brush strokes there, and lastly we'll come to the bottom, put the paint in the middle of the door and slowly spread it to the left and right. Okay. So that's going to complete the door here. Again, I'm going to go back and look at my corners to make sure there's not a lot of paint that has pulled up in the corners. If there was, I just do that right there. There isn't though. That looks good. That looks good. And this stuff stays wet on top of the primer for a long. It doesn't really dry that fast, which is really good. So for instance, if you had a lot of paint that was starting to sag right there, just go back into it with a roller to take it off, but make sure that the roller doesn't have a lot of paint on it. Okay, so that looks good. These corners look good. I'll just check this right here. Check that right there. Okay. So we'll just look at this right here. That looks good. Again, this is the trim paint that I'm using is the Emerald, made by Sherwin Williams, and again, it's one of their premium paints to use for trim or whatnot. It dries to a real hard sheen, and it covers great. And the application, it goes on nice and smooth. The paint is able to flow, and you're able to move the paint around. But again, we're moving all this paint around on top of 2 coats of the Benjamin Moore Fresh Start Primer here. So you can see how fast that you're able to paint using a roller like this to both transfer the paint from my paintball bucket right here to the door, okay? And then I use my 1.5-inch brush to get in all the corners and spread the paint out more, and then I use the roller again to even it out and to go over any areas that I hit with the brush. And the microfibers do a great job in leveling out the paint to almost deliver like a spray-like finish here. Okay, so we're just going to give this door a few hours to dry out, and we'll be back to check out the results. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope that you guys learned a lot, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, bye. Okay, the door is still wet right here. I completed the first coat of the Emerald here. I'm trying to get as close as we can to see how the roller efficiently delivers the paint to the surface in a smooth way. can see the sheen. This is a Satin Sheen. Hello and welcome back here. We've given the door a few hours to dry out, and by the footage that you just saw, you can both see the sheen of the door and how well the Sherwin Williams, the emerald, it covered. This is just one coat on top of the two coats of the Benjamin Moore Fresh Start, and again, it was tinted towards Simply White, and this is Simply White too. And again, the Simply White is a very tough color to work with because a lot of the colors will show through it. And again, it has a slight yellow undertone to it. And the yellows don't cover great, but as you can see here, with the primer by Benjamin Moore, and we did two coats of the primer over the classic classic Burgundy, which is a deep red. And then we just did one top coat of the emerald here. And again, this is a great paint that hides great, and the application is smooth. It goes on nice, and it dries to a level sheen so again, the tools to complete this job are here. First, we use the liquid sandpaper here, and it's made by Klean Strip. Again, this is going to clean and degloss the previous finish. So you always want to use the deglosser first before you start to paint, especially on trim that has a high sheen and has dirt and grease and stuff like that on. So, and the roller that I used right here is made by Whizz. Okay, and again, this is a 4-inch roller, and the nap is 3/8 here, and this is what it looks like right here. And always wet this first, and then get rid of the water. Okay, and then when you go to load up, since you have a little bit of water in there, the paint is able to get into the middle of the roller, and you want that. And then the beauty about it too is when you're done, when you go to clean up, it cleans up real fast, because you're not starting with a dry roller, you're starting with a slightly wet roller here. So these work great to both transfer the paint from my pail to the door, instead of using my brush to try to transfer all that paint to the door. And if you use a brush, it's going to take 4 times as long. Then it could start to dry. So if you really want to work fast, especially with these doors here, use one of these. And these don't really leave a heavy nap or anything like that. So the microfiber does a great job with releasing the paint in a level way without creating like a huge heavy nap mark. So it doesn't look like you used a roller on the door, okay? And again, the brush I used is a Corona Excalibur Chinex bristle brush, and again, these clean up great here too. So those are the tools and the paints that I used to complete this door, to go over the deep red with 2 primer coats and 1 top coat of the emerald paint here. And as you can see, it looks great. It has a uniform sheen, which is important, and it covered great. So these are just some tips and techniques to help you paint your front door, especially when going over a deep red. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll leave a link in the description of the video with all the tools and the paints and whatnot. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.